Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational presentation where today I want to talk to you about your last chance to attend the Buy Low, Sell High College. This is a brand new college where we're going to be talking about things specifically made for traders who like to buy at the extreme lows and sell at the extreme highs. For example, what we'll be teaching you is how to identify, looking at this older chart of the of gold, of spot gold. Here's a weekly chart, how to identify a buy area right here at the very lows where you could have taken advantage of that right before gold shot up to the upside. And we'll also show you ways in which to identify these tops. For example, looking at this older chart in eBay, right here we would have identified a very high topping area, and you could have taken advantage of selling the highs right there. So this is what we're going to be talking about, which is happening very soon in just a matter of days, introducing our new Buy Low, Sell High College. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo, president and founder of Specialist Trading. Been trading now for 46 years. The reason why we have the name Specialist Trading is not because we're any more special than anyone else, is because I used to be a specialist on the trading floor at the Pacific Stock Exchange. A specialist is someone who made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So I did that roughly for about 9 years. I traded and made markets through the crash of 87 and the bull market that followed. So in my 16 years of being on the floor and in my total of 46 years experience of trading, I've seen just about every technique, every system, every methodology you can think of. So I know what works in terms of consistency and I know what doesn't work. So that's why we formulated Specialist Trading, to teach you how to trade with this specialist edge, the same edge that I was taught. And we're going to be having this college in just a matter of days where we're actually going to be talking about some of the things that I've accumulated in my 46 years. So let's jump right into it. And before we begin, please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results in today's educational presentation, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, if you haven't done so already, please, here's an invitation to follow us on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. There's a lot of great free information I post on a daily basis. There's our handle right there. You may want to copy that down at SPCLSTTRADG. I post anywhere from snapshots of our signals that our methods have generated in the last day or two to little bits of financial wisdom. So there's lots of great free information on a daily basis. So please feel free to follow us on Twitter or on X, whichever you prefer. Okay, as I said earlier, we are first and foremost an educational company with our goal simply to educate you. So you're not going to hear me now, today, or even in the course, the Buy Low, Sell High College, tell you what I think the market's doing. You're not going to hear me tell you what I think you should buy or sell. That's up to you to decide, because that's what's missing most traders' toolbox, is that they're letting someone decide for them how to trade, what to trade, where to buy, what to sell. You get nightly signals, or you wait for some guy on TV to tell you what to buy or sell. And that really doesn't work, because basically the whole industry, the entire industry is based on that. And if that works so well, then why do roughly 80 to 90% of all traders fail? It's because that really doesn't work. The only one thing I found, the great truth in my 46 years of trading, is that you have to make your own trading decisions. So my job as an educator is to share with you things that have worked, things that have high levels of consistency, and then teach you how to apply them to your own trading. That's the specialist edge. Same edge that was taught to me some 46 years ago, and hopefully I'll be able to teach it to you as well in our courses and classes. Okay, so let's begin today's educational presentation. We're going to be talking about the Buy Low, Sell High course, but who exactly is this course for? Well, it's designed for traders who want to purchase or buy at the most opportune and least expensive prices. Now, I know most of you would say, well, that's obvious. I mean, I think everyone wants to buy at the most opportune and least expensive price, but that's not necessarily true. When I was working on the floor, I knew of a number of traders who didn't care to buy at the lows or sell at the highs. They just waited for a good trend to take place, and they would buy something at its very high because they knew it was going higher, or they would sell short something towards the lows because they knew it was going much lower than that. So this isn't for those type of traders. Those are called continuation traders, trend continuation traders. This course is not designed for traders like that. This course is designed for those who want to wait for price to get at the most opportune and least expensive prices. Now, it's also meant for traders who want to sell at the most opportune and most expensive prices. Once again, most of you would say, well, sure, I want to sell at the most expensive and most opportune place. But how many of you have ever gotten out of a trade with a nice profit and then seen it go even higher, right? Or you've shorted a trade and got out with a nice little gain and it goes even lower and lower. All right, we're trying to squeeze out the best profits we can in this course. Now, we want to also have this for traders who want to enter a trade with as little risk as possible. Many traders will say, well, listen, I've tried to pick tops and bottoms before, but it's just very difficult and I'm risking a lot. Well, we're trying to initiate as little risk as possible. So that's who this course is actually for as well. It's also for traders who want to exit a trade with as much profit as possible. If you'd like to squeeze out as much as you can, well, then this is a great course for you. This course is also for traders who want to go short or near the highs. Now, a lot of traders don't like to go short, but there are a lot of traders that actually do. And looking at today's market being down 200 or so points when I started this presentation, today would have been a good day to go short if you were a shorting trader. Well, this is designed for traders who like to go short at or near the highs. It's also designed for traders who like to time their trades with precision. This is not something where we're going to be using a lot of discretion and just saying, well, it kind of appears that this is the bottom, or it feels like a low, or it feels like a high. So why don't you just buy or sell? No, we're actually going to have rule-based structure to these, and you're going to add this precision to your timing of the entry. It's also for traders who like to apply options, because think of it. If you're an option trader and you like to buy calls or like to buy puts or some type of spread strategy, sometimes the premiums will eat you up. But if you're looking to go long at the lows, the premiums will be much less expensive. Conversely, if you're looking to go short at the highs, the premiums will be much less expensive. This is ideal for option timers. And then lastly, it's for traders who want to scan for nightly setups. We're going to have our own scanning area for you to scan for these setups that I'll be teaching you in the course. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, but Steve, I've gone to your presentations, I've even taken a couple of your courses. You always say never to try and pick tops and bottoms. So what are you doing here, right? Are you going against your own teaching? Well, not necessarily, because let's look at this example here. Remember, we had showed you this earlier. This was that top in eBay, all right? And then after we would have taught you what to look for, look what happened. This was a great place to go short. But once again, someone looking at this would say, yeah, but Steve, this is the top. You say never to try and pick tops. Well, not necessarily, because we're just looking at a small snapshot. Let's go down and look at the date. This was in August of 2022, okay? Now, let's spread out and look at a larger picture of this chart, all right? It's been in a steady overall downtrend. And here is August, okay? So we're basically selling the high in an overall downtrend. That small snapshot we had earlier, it appeared as if we were picking a top, but in all actuality, we were just selling in an overall downtrend. It goes the same way with this chart we share with you, this weekly chart of gold, okay? Now, for all intents and purposes, it looks like we're picking the lows here before it went up. And that goes against everything I ever teach. But if we look at the date here, this was October 2022, just about a year ago, all right? Now, if we spread out and look back a little bit longer at the chart, we're in an overall uptrend of gold here on a weekly time frame. And look at, this was October 2022. This is where we bought. So in actuality, we are buying at the lows in an overall uptrend. So we're not just, just with discretion trying to pick a low. Now, which tools or indicators will be featured in this course? Now, this is something that's a little bit different. We're going to pick three of our best tools or indicators designed for picking these highs and lows. Now, many of you may have these already. So this course is for someone who wants a refresher course designed to apply these three fantastic indicators, or it's also for people who have never purchased these before and they want to know exactly and get them all three together in a bundle, okay? So we're going to share with you our best of the best toolbox for specifically designed to pick these lows and highs. Indicator one, you may have heard me speak about it before, is the PTS XT. This is our extreme trend indicator. Now, what this does is it only identifies extreme trends, but many times, once it identifies an extreme trend, if you take initiation on the very first setup, you may actually be getting in at the low. So that's why we included this in the toolbox. For example, here's the way it works. Here's an older chart of AVGO, right? Looks like nothing is happening in the stock, just kind of going sideways to rising just a little bit. But if we apply the PTSXT, here's the way it works. It draws a little block around the bars that it deems that an extreme trend is going to take place. If it's an extreme downtrend, you'll see a reddish orange block around the bar. If you see an extreme uptrend, you'll see a yellow block, as you see right here. So had you taken advantage of this very first bar here, well, you could have potentially captured in the next couple of weeks 270 points. So for all intents and purposes, this was buying near or at the lows. It works the same way in AIG. Nothing much is happening here, right? We're just kind of basically going sideways. But if we apply the PTSXT, we see we have a reddish orange block around this bar here, even though nothing much is happening. Well, this is how sensitive the PTSXT is. It's telling you that it's determined that an extreme downtrend is about to take place. So had you taken advantage and shorted right here, well, even though it wasn't the exact top, this would have been the place you wanted to get short at the top of the extreme move to the downside. Another example in weekly charts of NVDA. Once again, not much happening here, kind of going up, going down, going back up. But right here on this bar in a weekly time frame, this was in January of this year, it determined that an extreme up move was about to happen. Had you taken place, you would have gotten in right at the very bottom of that extreme up move. 320 points you could have potentially captured. And the same with this chart in HE, okay? Kind of shifting sideways to lower, a red block right here, 27 points in the next couple of weeks, and you could have gotten in towards the highs of the block, okay? So this is a great, great tool. We're going to go over that in detail, how to apply it. And this brings us to the second great indicator in our toolbox. This is indicator number 2, and this is the PET-D, the Primo Early Trend Detector. This is an extremely, extremely popular tool that we have at Specialist Trading. I'd say the majority of our members and students have applied for the PET-D, but there are a number of different ways in which to apply it. During my presentations that I give on a weekly basis, my free webinars like today, I'll go over different ways in which to apply the PET-D, but there are certain ways that are specifically designed that only use a specific pattern for identifying bottoms and tops. That's what I'm going to be covering in this course, all right? For example, looking at this older chart of Apple, this was once again at the beginning of the year. It's coming down lower and then starting to bounce. But how do we know this is not just a pullback? How do we know it's going to go lower? Well, we apply the PET-D, which is a color bar tool, and it colors the bars either red or green. If you have a series of red bars, it means the trend, the short-term trend is down. A series of green colored bars, and the short-term trend is up. So obviously the last 6 bars or so, we have a short-term uptrend, but we don't know how long that's going to last. That could last maybe another day or so. That could maybe last a month. We have no idea. But according to a specific pattern that you'll only find when using the PET-D, it actually determined that this was going to go much, much higher. Okay, and I'll teach you what this pattern is in the course. And look what happened. 65 points coming into this last summer. Okay. Here's another example on SEE. All right. Looks like we're going higher and then lower, but how do we know we're going to stop? Maybe this is just a pullback and we're going to go higher. Let's apply the PET-D. You see how we have the series of green bars that tell us that we're going higher, but looking right here, we have a series of red bars. And remember, this PET-D is a short-term trend identifier. It only tells you what's happening at the moment. This could change on the next 3 bars. We could get 3 green bars. It means that all bets are off to the downside. But if we see the specific pattern, which I'll teach you in the class, most likely the odds are that it really wants to go lower, because this was a very high probability that this was going to go much lower. And look what happened in the next couple of weeks. It went down 10 points. So even if you weren't looking to go short, let's say you were long the stock, you could have used this as an exit strategy. Here's another example in UPS. Going strongly higher, but then kind of going up and down, up and down. If we apply this, well, we have a splash of red bars, some green bars. So this looks kind of confusing. The market doesn't want to know what to do, but there's another pattern, which I'll be teaching you, that also identified a selling area. And look what happened, 15 more points to the downside, just based off this pattern. And the same pattern could be applied to CVS right here. Now, as we look, we see that the market kind of went up, looked like it was topping, but then started to go back up again. if we apply the PET D, we see here there's a specific pattern, another pattern I'll be teaching you that says that most likely this is the top. Had you thought this was the top, you would have had a nice couple of days here where you had a profit, but you would have given it all back. But at this point, it was confirmed that this was the pattern you should be looking for. And look what happened. If we had sold right here, we could have potentially captured 35 points to the downside. And we can still use that same pattern to the upside. Here's an older chart in Tesla going back to May. All right. We have this abundance of red, but now we have a splash of green, then a splash of red. So someone would say, well, maybe this is a sell. We have a bearish engulfing pattern here. This is a sell pattern, right? So you should get out. No, this was actually a buy pattern according to what the PET D is telling us, even though we have this one red bar here. And look what happened. Went straight up. Now, at this point, you say, wow, maybe I should get out. Well, sure, if you have a profit, you can get out wherever you like, but there's no signs that it's topping yet. Even though it went down for 3 days, look what happened after that. You could have potentially captured 120 points. It wasn't until right here that we had a clear-cut pattern along with the PET D confirming that it's going lower right at this point, and you could have potentially made 45 points to the downside. So you see, we're going to go really into detail in week number 2 with the PET D. The next week, we will go into detail with indicator number 3. In my opinion, it's the best of the best. It's the PSBI. This is the Primo Secret Breakout Indicator. This is something that's relatively new. We just introduced this just a couple of months ago. We've had rave reviews from our students because it really is specifically designed for these breakouts at the lows or at the tops, okay? For example, let's show you how it works. Here's a chart in Amgen last June. Had you tried to buy this all the way down, you would have lost a lot of money. But the PSBI generates this block and says when it trades above, that's your buy area. And you could have potentially, had you taken advantage of that, but captured upwards of 45 points to the upside. Here's another example in Pepsi, okay? It's kind of going higher, but it's kind of the staggered higher point. But right here at the very highs, it generated a red block telling you that most likely it's going to be going lower. That's a breakout to the downside. And look what happened. 15 points going lower. Another example, in SPLK, all right? Stock's been slowly but surely heading lower. A buy opportunity was given right here. This was in mid to late August, 16 points. Now, obviously, some news happened 2 days after that, but you could have gotten in well in advance of that. That's how sensitive the PTSS, or I should say the PSBI is. And lastly, let's look at DLTR here, okay, Dollar Tree. Once again, just going straight up. Everyone thinks, well, it's just going to keep going higher and higher. Had you tried to short it, you would have lost a lot of money. But the new PSBI generated a breakdown signal right here, and you could have potentially captured 27 points to the downside. All right. Once again, you can use this for an exiting strategy, or you can actually use this to go short if you'd like. Now, you'll learn in this course that there's one thing all of these indicators have in common. We are going to cover that in the first week because they're very similar in this one category. So let's go over the curriculum I'll be teaching you in the Buy Low, Sell High College. We're going to be talking about the philosophy and concepts behind buying low and selling high. This will be in week 1, okay? Because there are a lot of things they all have in similar, and there's a lot of, different concepts that really apply only to buying low and selling high. And we'll go over all of them in detail. Then in that same week, we will cover the PTSXT. That's the Extreme Trend Indicator. Probably the simplest of all of these tools that we'll be sharing with you, but I'll go in detail and show you exactly how to apply it, okay? Now in week 2, we'll cover in detail just one indicator, and that's the PET D, because we're going to go over these different patterns and show you exactly how to apply them, because they're specifically designed to identify low areas and topping areas. So you can, choose which one you want once you know how to identify these patterns and then trade to your liking. In week 3, we'll cover the PSBI, the Primo Secret Breakout Indicator. This is something that, as I said, is fairly new, and this is specifically designed to buy low and sell high. That's the type of tool it is. And we've been getting, as I said, rave reviews from all of our students who have already purchased this. Here's the beauty of the college. You're getting 3 of our best of the best, but we're also going to throw in an extra bonus. This is a never before seen exiting technique. No one has ever seen this before. No one's ever taught about it because I've only used this in my own personal trading. And it's a combination of two of these. When we put them together, it really helps you to define where to get out. And give you a little secret, it also helps you as well where to get in. So this is a special bonus that you've never seen before that we're also throwing this in. We're also going to be including another bonus, which is a scanning process. You'll be able to scan with one-stop shopping at one place for all of these different tools. So you won't have to look all over the platform to see, okay, well, where do I find the PSBI? Where do I find the PET-D pattern? You'll be able to go to one place and scan for all of these, okay? We make it simple. All right, now these methods can be applied to stocks. As I just shared with you, the majority of what we shared with you were just stocks, but you can also apply them to ETFs. I mean, think of it. Let's say you want to look at the spiders, the ETF that represents the S&P 500, or you want to look at the housing ETFs, or maybe you want to look at the QQQs, the ETFs that represents the NASDAQ, or maybe crude oil ETFs, okay? Oil ETFs, all right? You can determine what those markets are doing, maybe looking at a longer term chart, seeing if they've bottomed out or topped out. And then if the ETFs, which represents those indexes or those categories, are, let's say, in a strong bottom formation, well, then you can search for stocks in those ETFs that represent that. It's a great way to apply them. Also to apply them to futures. I use them with future trading because I said many times I like to trade intraday futures. We have many students that purchase some of these indicators. They use them for the Forex markets. You can use them for commodities, for cryptos. It makes no difference because they're specifically designed based on market behavior. They don't know what market they're looking at. None of these indicators and techniques know that they're looking at perhaps crypto or perhaps the British pound. They're only looking at market behavior, which transfers onto all markets. For example, let's look at this chart, the QQQs. This is a weekly chart going back to 2020. Now we see that the market was taking off here, right? We've applied the PET-D and we're using that PET-D pattern. And we saw right here that that pattern generated a topping formation right here. So this was your identification to either exit maybe your positions or maybe raise your stop or maybe even to go short, because look what happened after that. The QQQ on a weekly basis fell 120 points, which represented thousands of points in the NASDAQ. Now, just when you think the market was falling out of bed, look what happened. That same pattern that we'll teach you in the course generated a bottoming formation. So you could have, if you were short, covered your shorts, or if you were waiting and staying out of the market this entire time, getting back in, and look what happened. You could have ridden this rally that so far we've had. That's 100 points coming into this summer, okay? Let's look at an older chart of the Australian dollar. All right, currency pairs, the same concepts apply with the PSBI. You could have used this as a topping formation. Look what happened, 375 pips to the downside. You can use that indicator as well to the upside. Here's a chart, an older chart of the dollar yen. A breakout to the upside was identified right here, 700 pips to the upside, okay? We're talking about close to $7,000 per unit. Now, if you go to my website or you go to the Pro Trader Strategies website, you'll see a lot of testimonials from traders that took our courses, different courses, but just they show you our real attention to detail and really trying to educate you. It doesn't matter if you're someone who's been trading a couple of weeks or someone who gave a testimonial like this person right here, who was actually a hedge fund trader, who had been trading for years, okay? Our techniques and methods can help anyone. Everyone gets the same information regardless of your experience, regardless of how long you've been trading. Remember, my goal as an educator is not like some of these other so-called educators where you say, well, just give me $10,000, $20,000 and I'll tell you what to buy on a nightly basis, or we'll spit out these buy and sell signals. No, my goal is to teach you so that you can take with you these things for the rest of your trading career. Not so that you'll just have a couple of good weeks or a couple of good months, but maybe a couple of good decades to sustain you. Now, live classes are starting soon. They're starting actually in a matter of days. So we want to give you this last chance to attend and become a student of mine in the college. Remember, this is our brand new buy low, sell high college. We're going to give you 3 of our best of the best indicators. They're designed to pick lows and pick tops and also keep risk to a minimum. They're also ideal for option trading. Now, you can apply these to any market. So I don't care if you say, well, Steve, I only trade crypto. It makes no difference. Or if you say, Steve, I like to trade multiple markets. Do I have to switch and buy another one for a different market or a different time frame? Absolutely not. You'll also get nightly scanning ability and then a bonus, a high probability exiting technique that no one has ever seen before. Now, with all of this today, in today's examples, you saw all the snapshots were taken with the PTS Primo charting platform. That's where everything is one click away. I know some platforms, you have to open up an indicator box. You have to go search through hundreds, if not thousands of indicators. You have to finally look for yours, click it on, and you have to do all the different edits and changes. That's not the way we designed and developed the PTS Primo charting platform. Everything is just one click away. Everything I share with you is just one click, as well as the scanning process takes maybe less than 30 seconds to scan nightly signals. Now, course members will receive a full year, 12 months free. If you already have the PTS Primo charting platform, I'm sure ProTrader Strategies will be able to help you with giving you something else. They're very flexible, and they'll also be able to include another bonus for you, okay? So live classes are starting a week from this Friday. They're starting on the 27th of the month. That will be the Friday, the last Friday of the month. That's a little less than 2 weeks to decide to become a student of this course. If you're the type of trader that likes to buy low and sell high, this is an ideal class for you. We've never had a class and course like this before because it's just for those type of traders and for those type of indicators that generate these signals. Okay, so let's break it down. Now, if you purchase these all separately, if you just say, well, I'm going to buy all these 3 best of the best on my own, I don't need to take the class course. Well, it would cost you over $16,000. That's how powerful these methods are, and that's how popular they are. So they're highly priced because they're our best of the best. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to discount it and not charge you $16,149. We're going to drop it down 10% to a pre-launch price of $14,995. You're going to save over $1,700. But remember, this also includes 12 months free of the platform. Now, you can come up with a full lump sum if you'd like, but I realize $14,995 is a lot of money. So Specialist Trading and ProTrader Strategies are offering you payment plans. What this means is you don't have to come up with $14,995 to be in the first class. You can just pay a small deposit, a fraction of that class, and establish a payment plan. You'll still be in the first class, which starts on the 27th, just a little over a week from now. So don't worry. And either way you decide, if you want to pay in full or if you'd like to have a payment plan, you'll still get a full 12 months free of the PTS Primo charting platform. So you don't have to come up with $14,995. You can come up with a fraction of that if you'd like. A year from today, you will have wished you became a member of the Buy Low, Sell High College. Take advantage of this great class and this great course we're having for the first time. Remember, the new year is starting in just a couple of months. This is a great way to finish out 2023 strong and to start 2024 in the right direction. All right, here's how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, ProTrader Strategies. They're in charge of all the discounts. And also, if you'd like to establish a payment plan, I would highly recommend giving them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones. They would be happy to give you a quote. There's absolutely no obligation where you feel like, well, I don't want to call because then I'll have to spend the money and spend $14,995. No, they'll give you a quote. You can think about it, and you can make your decision before the first class starts, okay? They're highly flexible. If you already have one of these indicators, or maybe you have a couple of them, don't worry. They're flexible. They'll be able to work with you, or if you already have the platform, okay? So they're very willing to work with all of our former students or continuation students, or for people that are starting out for the very first time, okay? Now, I'm going to leave this information up here. I'll take any questions that you may have. I see we already have some questions. Just go to your chat box or your question and answer box. But someone is asking me, how long are the classes? The classes usually run anywhere from an hour to 3 hours, all right? So we're going to be usually having them on Friday from 10 o'clock to 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. If we have enough students that say, well, listen, I'd rather have it on the weekend, or I'd rather have it before the opening, or I'd rather have it after the close, sure, we'll always change the majority rules with all of our classes, so you can always do whatever you like, okay? Now, someone's also asking, okay, you have more than one class. When do they start? Well, we will be doing them every Friday. We have 3 weeks of this jam-packed information. So the first week will start on the 27th, then we'll continue on to the first Friday in November, and then the second Friday in November, okay? So these are extremely, extremely important classes that you want to attend, but if you can't attend, there's no reason to worry. Everything is recorded. You will always be able to contact me and get the recording and watch at your own leisure, okay? How can I contact you? Okay, well, each and every one of you will get my personal email address. So in the classes, which we like to have the live classes, we designed that so you can, it's a little bit more intimate. You can actually ask me questions, whatever you'd like. But if you can't attend, don't worry. You can always email me and I'll get back to you whenever you'd like, okay? So that's how you'd stay in touch. And also, a lot of students think that, okay, I get your email address, but does that change after the class is over? No. You're a student of mine for life, so you can always send me an email whenever you like. A year later, I get students still emailing me just for a little refresher, asking me, how does this work? What do you think about this? So it's not something that just ends when the class ends. You can always email me whenever you'd like, okay? Yes, the class, it's 10 o'clock Pacific time. Someone's asking, is that Eastern time? No, that's Pacific Standard Time. And remember, if we get enough students telling us, hey, listen, I would rather have this after the close. I'd rather have this on the weekend. We'll change as long as we get the majority, okay, going in that direction. Okay, good question. Any more questions? Remember, this starts a week from this Friday, not this coming Friday, the 20th, but the week after, the 27th. So my suggestion would be call ProTrader Strategies. If you're interested at all, call 310-598-6677. The trading consultants will be happy to answer any question concerning data, concerning the platform, and concerning pricing. They'd be willing to talk about discounts. They'd be willing to tell you about the discount price in terms of establishing a payment plan. They'd give you a quote, so you don't have to decide. And don't worry, there's no obligation just to call. But if you'd like to be a member of that first class, you just have a little over a week to decide, okay? All right. Great questions. As we close up, I just want to say thank you once again for attending this Wednesday class. I'm really excited about the new course because we've never had a course like this before. We always have students emailing us and say, Steve, listen, can you give us a course where you can, just tell us what's the best way to buy at the very lows and sell at the very highs? Well, that's why we developed this. And we have our best of the best tools specifically designed to do that. So if you're that type of trader, this is the course for you, okay? As we close, take one last look at our disclaimer. I just want to thank you once again, but most especially, I look forward to all of you in the new Buy Low, Sell High course. Thank you so much for attending. Hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.